Namo Dasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Dasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Dasa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Tonight, I would like to share with you the topic, the Dhamma Powers of the Buddha. This is an attempt. In fact, no one can actually is qualified to really expound on the Dhamma powers of the Buddha except another Buddha. Only a Buddha is qualified to praise, and not only praise, to really talk about a Buddha's qualities sufficiently. Or anyone lesser than the Buddha will not be able to praise the Buddha sufficiently, completely, because you don't know. Only a Buddha can understand the greatness of another Buddha in full, in total. People like us, we can only make certain attempt to talk about the Buddha's qualities. And to a certain extent only, and never sufficient. No matter how much we talk about the Buddha, we can never expound on the qualities of the Buddha sufficiently. Never. So, with that qualification, I would like to make my humble attempt at explaining some that we know about the Dhamma powers of the Buddha to you, with the purpose that after knowing it, we can develop more confidence, more faith towards the Buddha. For what? So that we know what is actually possible when a being develops its potential to the highest level. That is the purpose. Other than that, when we talk about the greatness of another one, itself, by itself, is, it doesn't belong to us. No, those qualities don't belong to us. But it is worthy. It is very worthy. Once, I want to tell a story about this so that you have a rough idea why it is important that we know to some extent, even though we cannot know completely, we can know some extent of the greatness, the Dhamma powers of the Buddha. Once the Buddha talked about the past experience of great disciple of the past Buddha. If I'm not mistaken, Anumadasi Buddha or something. You can check on that. But the great disciple is Abhibu. Abhibu. This the Buddha talked about the Abhibu once he went up to the Mount Meru and then make his voice heard. I think 10,000 world system, something like that. Oh, very far. All over the world could hear his sound, his voice. And then the Buddha talked about his story. Then finish. Then one day later, when Rama Ananda came to the Buddha, I say, wow, the Buddha is so, the great disciple of Abhibu, so great. He could make his voice be heard so far. Then I was thinking, Bhante, I was thinking, if our Tathagata, the Buddha himself, how far can make his voice heard? How far? And then Then the Buddha said, oh, that is only the power of a disciple, not the Buddha. The Buddha is far, far more than that. Then Venerable Ananda said, yes, can it be known? Can it be by simile explain how far the Buddha's voice could be heard? The Buddha said, oh, that is the power of a disciple. The greatness of the power of the Buddha is far, far more than that. Then still Ananda insists on trying to know, is it possible to describe or compare or something? Okay, then the Buddha said, okay, since you really want to know, then the Buddha explained, I don't keep that in mind a lot, but something like this. When there's a sun and the moon and then the world system like that, there's one system, there's one world. Then out of many of such worlds, there's a medium. Then many worlds, and there's a big, like big universe, something like that. Then the Buddha could make his voice heard far beyond, even beyond that, very far. Then Venerable Ananda was thinking, he asked a very intelligent question. How the Buddha is very great, my teacher is very great, my teacher is very great. They're so joyful. And he said, how the Buddha can, in what technique, how he make his voice heard? Then the Buddha explained. First, the Buddha would make his light shine all over, far to the end of the world. Very far, as far as possible. All this world system after world, one world system after another, all the world system, 小千世界, 中千世界, 大千世界. Don't ask me about this, I'm not expert in this, because I'm not interested to go into details. I know something like that. Galaxies are more than galaxies, whole universe, multiverse. But I'm not people who I like to study this topic. I know it's very great, long, far away. And then he said, I shine my light. The Buddha will shine his light all so far. After the light reaches so far, then make his voice heard. Determination, make his voice heard. Then his voice could be heard all over. Where, as far as the light can reach, far. And then even beyond that, the Buddha said, oh, Venerable Ananda was overjoyed. So happy, oh, my teacher is so great, my teacher is so great. Then at that time, there's one monk. He's also quite intelligent, this monk, Ujjayi. He's a bit smart. He said, well, your teacher is great. It's not that you are great. Why are you so happy you are about it? He has some common sense, Yeah, if another one is great, but it's not that you are great. Why are you so happy about it? So Ujjayi was trying to pour some cold water over the head of Venerable Ananda. And then this time the Buddha said, don't say so, Ujjayi, don't say so. The faith that Venerable Ananda has towards the Tathagata, the Buddha, such a great faith, could give him be reborn as a king of heaven 7 times and king of human world 7 times. Just this faith alone, so much faith, full faith in the Buddha. Oh, so powerful. In front of the Buddha himself, so overjoyed. Such a joy, perfect ecstasy, I would say. Such karma could make him be reborn as a 7 times, powerful enough to be reborn. Make one a reborn as 7 times as the king of heaven and 7 times as king in human world. That means such faith is not in vain. Such faith is very powerful merit. What the Buddha was trying to describe, to show that such a faith is very powerful merit. You do a lot of dana, also not easy to be 7 times king of heaven, king of human. Then that joy of Venerable Ananda was so powerful. And then the Buddha said, but anyway, for Venerable Ananda, he wouldn't be reborn anymore. This will be his last life. That is a prophecy of the Buddha. This life will be his last life. And so when Aṅguttara didn't need that kind of marriage. You want that marriage? You want? You want to be king? Don't lah. Be Nibbana, attain Nibbana better. So what we want to say is, it is the marriage when we really understand the power of the Buddha to our level best, and then with that kind of faith, you can develop great faith towards the Buddha. That's very powerful marriage. Okay? With that in mind, I want to continue today's talk. First, I will explain about some of the Buddha's power. The Buddha is also known as Dasa-balā, with 10 powers. Dasa-balā. This is one quality. First, I want to explain about this. Dasa-balā. In the Aṅguttara Nikāya, the Buddha himself declares, Dasa-balahang bhikkhave dasa-balasa mannagato asabang thanang patijanami. Parisasu sihanadang nadami brahmacakang pawattentemi. Monks, endowed with 10 powers, I claim the place of the chief bull, roar the lion's roar in the assemblies, and set rolling the supreme will of Dhamma. Okay, this metaphor, it's not going to say the Buddha is a bull. No, I say that it's like it's a chief. So in this Pali expression, when they say chief bull, is the top of the herd, the head of the herd. Roar the lion's roar, cause I say. So lion's roar in assemblies, very powerful. With these 10 powers in mind, in possession, endowed with that, the Tathagata, the Buddha claimed he's a head. Roar the lion's roar and set rolling the wheel of Dhamma with these powers. Okay? And these powers represent not only supernatural abilities, but actually refers to the various profound dimensions of the Buddha's enlightened wisdom. Okay? That's why he's a very powerful teacher. He guides us towards liberation and help us to understanding this power gives us that unwavering confidence, saddha, in the Buddha's teaching. Okay? And this is not only the mundane concepts of power. This power is very wonderful in the spiritual sense. Not the mundane military power, conquering other people. No. This power is a spiritual achievement. Extraordinary good. Okay? Okay. So today we explain these powers and then how it serves, and this understanding can help us. Okay. Eventually, we want to talk about what actually benefit, improve our spiritual world. Okay. This is the purpose of today's talk. And not only merely talk about the Buddha's greatness, but how this greatness can help us and can uplift us if we know how. Okay. In the Mahasihanada Sutta of the Majjhima Nikāya, okay, the Buddha also said like that. Tathagato cha ko Sariputta. The Buddha talked to this Venerable Sariputta. Tathagato cha ko Sariputta. Arahang samma sambuddho chatari vesarajani patijanati. Yehi vesarajehi samanagato tathagato asabang thanang patijanati. Parisasu siyanadang nadati brahmacakang pawatteti. What does it mean? It means, the Buddha said, the Tathagata refers to the Buddha himself. When the Buddha refers to himself, he always refers to Tathagata. The Tathagata, Sariputta, being an Arahant, fully enlightened one, claims the 4 kinds of intrepidity, 4 kinds of fearlessness. Intrepidity means fearlessness, bravery. 4 kinds of intrepidity. And by this, he claims the place of the chief bull, roars his lion's roar in the assembly, and set rolling the supreme will of Dhamma. 4 kinds of intrepidity is also refers to 4 kinds of confidence. Fearlessness is like a confidence, 4 kinds. Okay? This intrepidity or fearlessness comes from the Buddha's complete understanding of reality, his perfect wisdom, and his unparalleled compassion. Okay? Okay, yeah? So, what are these 4? Okay? What are these 4? These 4 is this. First, the fearlessness or confidence in perfect enlightenment. The Buddha said like that. The Buddha said in Aṅguttara Nikāya, I see no ground on which any recluse, Brahmin, Deva, Mara, Brahma, or anyone at all in the world could, in accordance with the Dhamma, accuse me. That means could correctly accuse me. Though you claim to be fully enlightened, you are not fully enlightened in regard to certain things. Okay. Seeing no such ground, there's no such possibility. No, I dwell secure, fearless, and assured. Okay, this is the first confidence of the Buddha. Fearlessness. The first fearlessness is he's really enlightened. There's no such thing that he is lack of enlightenment or in anything. That's the confidence of the Buddha. The second, confidence in the destruction of defilements. Okay. So the Buddha said, I see no ground on which anyone could correctly, according to Dhamma, accuse me thus. Though you claim that your taints are destroyed, your imperfection, asawa, your taints are destroyed. These taints are not destroyed in you. Seeing no such ground, I dwell secure, fearless, and assured. Then the Buddha is actually destroy all the taints, all the impurities. So he confidently said that there's no such thing that he has any left over in his mind that is not destroyed. No. So this is the second confidence. First is about enlightenment. Second is about the taints perfectly conquered. Okay. Third, confidence in identifying obstacles. I see no ground on which anyone, okay, so and so lah, according to Dhamma, confidently, could accuse me thus. Those things called obstruction by you are not able to obstruct one who engages in them. See no such ground, I dwell secure, fearless, and assured. Now, this I want to explain a little bit. This is very powerful. What the Buddha in another sutta also said, whatever the Buddha declared to be a hindrance cannot be otherwise. If the Buddha declared this is a hindrance, this must be a hindrance. Today we see some people who they got misguided, unfortunately. They claim, oh, if you are enlightened, you're empty already, then anything you can do. You can kill, no harm. You can commit whatever misconduct, no harm, sexual misconduct or whatever, stealing, lying. No problem. This is because enlightened person, highly enlightened, no problem can do. The Buddha said this is not possible. Because what he declared, this is obstacle, it obstructs. You cannot say this obstacle doesn't obstruct anybody. This is exception, that's exception. No exception. This is the confidence of okay. Whatever the Buddha declared to be obstacle, it must obstruct. If you don't want to be obstruct, then you have to conquer this obstacle. But there's no way you can indulge in the obstacle and then still it doesn't obstruct you. There's no such thing. Very powerful. It's very powerful declaration. And today we can see people fall into problem when they don't understand this part of the Dhamma. So the first is about enlightenment. Second is about overcoming destruction of the taints. Third is the whatever the Buddha, the confident, declared to be obstacle must be obstacle. Then the fourth, confidence in the path to liberation, the method. Okay. I see no ground on which anyone, including Brahma, Mara, whoever, could, according to Dhamma, accuse me thus. The Dhamma you teach does not lead one who practices it to the complete destruction of suffering. Seeing no such ground, I dwell secure, fearless, and assured. He knows perfectly sure that whatever the Buddha teaches, taught to us, sure leads to destruction of, complete destruction of suffering. Yeah. This is confident. No one can accuse the Buddha, no, what you teach doesn't lead to complete destruction of suffering. No one can accuse the Buddha like that. Can rightly, according to Dhamma, according to natural law, accuse the Buddha like that. No one can do that. Because whatever the Buddha declared, that this is a path leading to the cessation of suffering, it must be so and cannot be otherwise. And today, how many miserable, misguided people, they accuse the Buddha of this. There's a pity. There's a pity. So this is the confidence of the Buddha. Okay? Then let's come back to this. What is the power? Bala. The word bala in Pali, powers. What does it mean? In the Buddhist context, we are talking about the 10 powers of the Buddha. This is explained in the Aṅguttara Nikāya in the Patisambhida Magga text. Power is described as asalinatang balang, kilesanang sahatata balang, visadata balang, pativeda lakhanang balang. What does it mean? It means powers means non-shrinking. Shrinking, weakening, not shrinking. Power means crushing defilements, conquering defilements, crushing defilements, crushing your greed, anger, delusion. Powers means non-shrinking, power means crushing defilements, power means purification, power means characteristic of penetration or realization. Penetration, realization. This is what we mean by power, not the mundane perspective definition of power. When the Buddha used power, bala, it refers to these 4 things. Non-shrinking, not weakening. Non-shrinking, not weakening. Not means crushing defilement, the power, crushing the thing that causes suffering. It means purification. This is the power. And then penetration into the realities. Characteristic of penetration. This is power. It's not about controlling other people. Power is the internal transformation and complete eradication of mental defilements. This is power. Not about killing other people, killing enemies. No. This is not mentioned. When the Buddha mentioned power, the Buddha refers to internal transformation. Complete eradication of causes of suffering. Okay, so we must distinguish from mundane psychic power, idis. When we say bala, it's bala. Idis is different. Idis, you can go through the wall. This idis. So you can fly in the air. This idis. This is also a kind of power. But when the Buddha refers to power, it has a higher meaning that actually conquer our causes of suffering. Okay? No doubt the Buddha has idis. The Buddha also has psychic powers. Not that the Buddha didn't have, but it's not the most essential, the most fundamental aspect of it. Okay? In the Dhamma Nikāya, Kevata Sutta, the Buddha explicitly warns against showing power, displaying power. Not that the Buddha has used the power, psychic power, used, but not to display. Display and using are 2 different things. Look at what the Kevata Sutta, what the Buddha said. Pasami ko ahang kewata, iddi pati hariye adinawang. Ati ko kewata, iddi pati hariyang yang arya sawako diswa ewang wakati. Ayang gandari nama vijja, ayang maniko nama vijjati. What does it mean? I see danger in the demonstration of psychic power. Kevata. When an educated noble disciple sees it, they might think this is the Gandhari charm or the Manika charm. Okay? So, Some people will think this is charm, like David Copperfield show certain thing. But David Copperfield show one, sometimes it's a bit scientific. He use scientific ways of doing it. Some charm, sometimes they use mantra, certain charm. But what the Buddha say, the real psychic power is not like that. It's out of the purity of the mind. But in order not to give people this kind of wrong understanding, so demonstration to show psychic power out of the pride is no good. But doesn't mean you cannot use. You save a lot of etiquette if you have these EDs. I save that. Okay, so let's continue. Instead, the Buddha emphasized the miracle of instruction. Anusasani patihariya. The Buddha said, this is a miracle. Not the external miracle. The miracle of instruction, the Dhamma. Anusasani patihariya. As the most valuable of all powers, the ability to guide beings towards liberation through teaching the Dhamma. One day I asked Sayadaw Kumara Viwangsa, I said, Sayadaw, will you develop psychic power? How long will you develop that? He said, yeah, if you develop also not easy to maintain. If you need to stay in the forest, easier to maintain. But you come out, teaching, you deal with people, not easy. But in fact, Sayadaw Kumara Viwangsa, he care more about this power. Anusasani patihariya. The miracle of teaching people, because it changed people's life. Instead of getting ruined, falling into woeful realms, when a person gets the Dhamma teaching, he can transform his life. So this is more valuable. But please get the balanced views. Don't go and attack, psychic power is no good. That is also bad karma. Don't do that. Not that psychic power is no good, it's good. It's safe for etiquette. Sometimes very helpful, in teaching. If you have certain ability, but make sure it is real. I see a lot of fake abilities. But if it is a real one, really, but not for demonstration, not for showing off, but really good, this is also helpful, very beneficial. Sayadaw actually told me, Aryadhamma Mahathera also told me, this is powerful, this is good. Actually, they praise, not to say psychic power is no good. So don't get a mistaken view. Get the right view. Just that showing off out of pride for worldly gains, those are not a good approach. Like that only. But the more worthy is actually true. Anusasani patihariya. Miracle of instruction. Okay? Okay, and this power comes because of his enlightenment. When the Buddha attained enlightenment, naturally because he mastered all these elements, so he had all this unparalleled ability. And this helped him to guide other beings based on their individual needs and capacities. So these powers are part of his enlightenment, not separate from his enlightenment. In the Majjhima Nikāya, the Buddha explained in the Mahavaccagutta Sutta, Syatapi vacha agi saupadano jalati. No anupadano evameva kwaham vacha saupadano idima no anupadano. Just as a fire burns with fuel, not without fuel. So I say that I possess psychic power with fuel, not without fuel. What is the fuel? Fuel refers to the causes and conditions that make such power possible. The Buddha's complete purification of mind and his perfect wisdom. Okay, because of they are not arbitrarily, not magical. Magical means like David Copperfield one. That one is magical. Or people using mantra. There's also magical. But this is not. This is with fuel. There are certain power people display. Those are not. That's without fuel. They don't have this purity. They don't have this mind power. They use science, use tactic, use certain camouflage way, to disguise certain phenomena. So that you think, wow, he has a power, but that's not psychic power. But the Buddha's psychic power is with fuel. because with the causes of purity, the causes of mental qualities. Okay? That is the meaning. Okay? But when the Buddha used this power or exercised this power, the Buddha exercised it correctly. Not in the worldly self-aggrandizement or entertainment. No, not like that. But for good, without a sense of self. In the Digha Nikāya Brahma Jala Sutta, the Buddha say like that. Santi bhikkhave eke samana brahmana idi patihareyam karotta. Te evang ahangsu amhakang idang idi patihareyam na anyesan asanti. Tathagato chako bhikkhave idi patihareyam pi karoti. Na cha tena manyati. There are some ascetics and Brahmins who perform miracles. They say this miracle is ours, not others. The Tathagata monks can perform miracles, but does not conceive himself thereby. The Buddha says, oh, this is my psychic power, my power, not like that. Not just power. The Buddha's power always directed towards a single purpose, the liberation of beings from suffering. See, it's not for display, but for the liberation of beings from suffering. They were tools for teaching, not for display. This understanding is crucial as we explore the further powers of the Buddha. Okay, Dasa-balā, 10 powers. And talking about the Dasa-balā, there's in the Mahasihanada Sutta, and also the Dasa-balā Sutta, the Buddha mentioned about these qualities with his mastery. In the Aṅguttara Nikāya, the Buddha declares, Dasa-balahang bhikkhave Dasa-balā samma nagato asabbang thanang patijanami parisasu sihanadang nadami brahma chakkang pavat temi. Monks, endowed with the 10 powers and the 4 grounds of self-confidence, the Tathagata claims the place of the chief bull, draws his lion's roar in the assemblies, and set rolling the supreme wheel of Dhamma. Okay, it is similar with the previous one. It talks about the 4 grounds of self-confidence. So, just how we mentioned just now, 4 grounds of confidence. Now we come to the 10 powers of the Buddha. The first is Thana Jnana. Actually, it is a combination of 2 words, Thana and Athana. Thana, possible, Athana, impossible. Thana Athana Jnana, knowledge of the possible and impossible. In the Aṅguttara Nikāya, the Buddha said, Ida bhikkhave tathagato thanancha thanato athanancha athanato yatha bhutang pajanati. Here, monks, the Tathagata understand it as it actually is. What is possible as possible, what is impossible as impossible. Okay? Thanancha thanato, athanancha athanato. Okay? Possible as possible, impossible as impossible. The Buddha knows it as it actually is. Yatha bhutang pajanati. Yatha bhutang means not created by yourself. It is, Chinese means 如实. If it's like that, it is like that. Naturally. Okay? Pajanati. Penetrate, understanding as such. Okay? The Buddha knows, for example, that it is impossible for a person who has attained the right view to consider any conditioned phenomena as permanent, satisfactory, or self. Not possible. If you have a right view, you know all phenomena, that conditioned phenomena arise and pass away. They are impermanent. And because of impermanent, the oppression of that nature is unsatisfactory. And there's no self in between in the process. Okay? So the right view is like that. Okay? So it's impossible for people who have such a right view to consider any conditioned phenomena as permanent, satisfactory, or self. This is impossible. He knows it is impossible for someone who has become a stream enterer, sotapan, to be reborn more than 7 times. Not possible. That's not possible. he knows what action can lead to what result, and what is simply not possible within the laws of nature. Okay? This knowledge is not theory, but direct perception of the causal relationship that govern all phenomena. Okay? It allows the Buddha to teach with absolute certainty about the path to liberation and its fruits. This is very, very important. Very, very important. Nowadays, sometimes we hear all kinds of fallacies teaching. Say this can lead to what? All kinds of practice, wrong practice. And then sometimes they pray so much, they worship so much, and then their life cannot be changed. They don't get the real life security. Why? Because they work on the impossible. They work on the impossible. Then how? You want to purify, no one can purify another. No matter how much you work hard, you purify, you want your children to attain enlightenment because of your meditation, not possible. Okay? So things are like that. So when the Buddha realized what is possible as possible, impossible as impossible, he could teach correctly and guide correctly. Because he teaches to work on what is possible to achieve, to get out of suffering. Okay? Then the second power is a kind of knowledge also. Karma vipaka jnana, knowledge of the results of action. Okay? In the Chula Karma Vibhanga Sutta, in the Majjhima Nikāya, Sutta number 135, the Buddha said like that: Kama Sakka Manawa, Satta Kamma Dayada, Kamma Yoni, Kamma Bandhu, Kamma Pati Sarna, Kammang Sate Vibhajati, Yadidam, Hina Panitatayati. Beings are owners of their actions, heirs of their actions. They originate from their actions, are bound to their action, have their actions as their refuge. It is action that distinguishes being as inferior or superior. That means beings are not the same. Sometimes people want to say, all beings are the same. No, not really the same. Same in terms of how the natural law works on them is the same. But they are distinguished based on their action. What action? Thought, speech, and physical action. These three, it generates karma. And because of this karma, you will produce, when it ripens, if it doesn't ripen yet, you don't see the result. But when it ripens, you see the result. Vipaka. So this knowledge the Buddha has, this is the power. In fact, when we talk about sometimes in Dhamma Earth, when we talk about Dhamma leadership, we also exercise this. This is a power. Okay? If we understand cause and effect, it gives you even leadership power. Because you know what are the causes. Is it when we talk about leadership, we are talking about we want to bring everyone to achieve certain purpose. So if you know the cause and effect, you want this result, you work on these causes. Then you achieve your result. So this knowledge is a power. Very wonderful. In all aspects of our life. Spiritual aspect or mundane aspect. Worldly aspect. Okay? So this knowledge enables the Buddha to guide beings according to their karmic tendencies and potentials, offering teachings that are precisely suited for their spiritual development. Okay, this is also, but this involves another power also. Later we'll talk about it. Then the third power, Sabbata Gamini Patipada Jnana, knowledge of the path leading to the destination. To all destination. Especially the destination of liberation. Especially knowledge of the path leading to all destination. Sabbata Gamini Patipada Jnana. But in this aspect, the Buddha highlight towards the destination of the liberation, especially. In the Majjhima Nikāya, Sutta 149, Mahasalaya Tanika Sutta. The Buddha said, Ayang koso bhikkhave arya thangiko mago siyatidang samma ditti samma sankappo samma vaca samma kammanto samma ajivo samma vayamo samma sati samma samadhi. This, monks, is the noble eightfold path, namely right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. In fact, this power sometimes you can use in other aspects also, but we mainly use it for liberation. But actually, this power, this path, noble eightfold path, can actually help us in many ways. Yeah. But mostly when we explain, we always explain the ways leading to the liberation. The Buddha knows which practices lead to rebirth in the human realm, which leads to heavenly realm, which leads to lower realm, and most importantly, which leads to complete liberation. He understands not only his own teaching, but all spiritual paths that existed during his time, knowing precisely what result they could produce. Including once, there's one ascetic practice, a practitioner who followed the cow practice, and another one followed the dog practice. The cow practice, they live like a cow, walk with 4 legs, hands, walk like that, and eating the grass. And then the dog one, barking, talking like that, eating also not with hands, eating with the mouth like that, eating on the ground. They think this will lead to good, higher life. They came to the Buddha, asked, where will I be reborn? At first, the Buddha didn't want to say. Eventually, after a lot of requests, the Buddha said, okay, I'll tell you. Both karma also go to hell because of serious wrong view. So the Buddha could understand. When you practice like that, where you will end up, they didn't know. So they practiced very hard for, I think, 20 years or many years. Practice. Can you practice like a dog? 20 years? Is it easy? Very difficult. So these people are very tough. Very, very tough. Very devoted, but wrong view. So no matter you make a lot of effort, you are very effortful, but if you don't know the methodology, all the efforts can lead you worse result. So and the Buddha has this knowledge. So the Buddha could understand, answer their question. This dog practitioner, where will be reborn? Oh, hell. This cow practitioner, where will be reborn? Also, going down to 4 realms. So this knowledge, very wonderful, the Buddha's knowledge. Number 4, Nana Dhatu Jnana, knowledge of the world with its many elements. The world. The Buddha knows, Loka we do, but he knows elements. When the Buddha has a quality, knower of the world. The physical world, the elements world, the sankhara, and then the nature of beings world. Loka we do. 3 aspects. The Buddha knows the world. The world of physicality, physical world, the worlds of elements, and the world of beings. So this is a knowledge of the world with its many elements. What elements? For example, this, in the Dhatu Vibhanga Sutta, Majjhima Nikāya 140, the Buddha said, Cha Dhatu yo, Patavi Dhatu, Apo Dhatu, Tejo Dhatu, Vayo Dhatu, Akasa Dhatu, Vijnana Dhatu. So all aspects. All aspects, physical. 6 elements. Earth element, fire element, water element, fire element, wind element, Akasa Dhatu, space element. These cover almost everything already, physical. And Vijnana Dhatu, consciousness element. So, all Namarupa involved. All Namarupa involved. The world. So this knowledge extends beyond physical elements to include the 18 elements of sense spheres, the 6 sense organs, 6 sense of objects, and 6 types of consciousness, as well as countless other classifications of phenomena. The Buddha understands how these elements interact, how they arise and cease, and how attachment to them leads to suffering. This power enables the Buddha to teach Dhamma using various frameworks and classifications that are most appropriate for different audiences and contexts. This is very helpful. So all this power, you notice, they always empower the Buddha to help beings. Not develop power just for show, for nothing, for own greatness, no. The Buddha cultivated this power long, all throughout his
his Bodhisattva journey. And when he accomplished in that, these powers are meant for a practical, useful purpose. For us, to help us to achieve liberation, guide us. Then the fifth power of the Buddha, Nana Dimuttika Jnana, knowledge of the different inclination of beings. This is very powerful. More than ordinary mind reading. But not only more than that. In the Aṅguttara Nikāya, the Buddha explained, Nana Dimuttikkancha Satanam Nana Dimuttikkantatkatancha Yathabhutang Pajanati. He understands as they actually are, the different inclination of beings and the diversity in their inclination. Okay, everything about your mind, nature. For example, some people are naturally inclined towards faith, others towards wisdom, towards energy, towards concentration or generosity. Some have strong tendency towards anger, others towards greed and delusion, or pride, or etc. The Buddha sees this inclination clearly and knows how to teach each person accordingly. Okay, And then the sixth quality. Just now the quality is very helpful for teaching. Now the sixth power. Indriya Paro Pariyata Jnana. Knowledge of the faculties of beings. Inclination is one thing, faculties is another. But in this, they come together. The sixth power is the Buddha's understanding of the spiritual faculties of beings. How developed or undeveloped they are in faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. In the Indriya Bhavana Sutta, the Buddha discusses these faculties. Panchimani Ananda Indriyani Katamani Pancha Sadindriyam Virindriyam Satindriyam Samanindriyam Panindriyam. These are five faculties, Ananda. What five? The faculties of faith, the faculties of energy, the faculties of mindfulness, the faculty of concentration, and faculties of wisdom. Okay? These five faculties is also known as five powers. Pancha-balāni, also known as five powers. When it becomes very strong, it becomes powers. This is in the 37 requisites of enlightenment. Bodhipakkhya Dhamma. Okay, these also help him to know whether this person's mind is balanced or imbalanced, whatever. The Buddha knows exactly. This quality the Buddha exercised very, very well. Once there's a monk come from very delicate upbringing background. So, to how delicate was this monk? I think it's Soma or Sona. His soul, soul, so that the part of the feet, usually no hair, right? Then to that extent, so delicate, he got hair in his soul. In his soul. But when he became monk, he practiced very diligently. Up down, whole night, until bleeding. Until his soul bleeding. And yet not enlightened. But the Buddha was very clearly knowing this, his mind, his faculties not balanced. The Buddha came and talked to him. And told him, monk, do you know how to play the kind of musical instrument, like guitar, the ancient one with a lot of string. Something, the ancient guitar, I call it that way. I don't know how to call it. Flute or not flute. Something. So musical instrument. Then the Buddha asked him, if the string is very tight, what will happen? Oh, you're broken. It cannot, the moment you touch it, broken. But if it's too loose, what happens? Too loose, you cannot play out the music. Then the Buddha says in the same way. Because in his late time, he was very good in that, playing the musical instrument. So the Buddha knew. He's expert in that. So using that example, he could understand very quickly. Majjhima Patipada, middle way. Don't overexert and don't underutilize your energy. Don't be lazy. Middle way. Just nice. Balance faculties. Then you can progress. After that,
He lived, practiced very in a balanced way and attained arahantship.
So this is the power of the Buddha in understanding the spiritual faculties. There are a lot of examples that Buddha teach using this power. A lot of examples, including some people who used to be a goldsmith all the time for 500 years. So he asked the Venerable Sariputta, asked him to practice the impurities. He couldn't. He didn't like. So couldn't attain any concentration. So when they came to the Buddha, Buddha said, "Oh, today I can make him. Today you will see he attained arahantship." Now what the Buddha did? Buddha created a gold, created one, the golden and very beautiful lotus. And for him, so when this goes me, this lotus so beautiful. So beautiful, because goldsmith, they like beautiful things. Then focus, and then all the concentration came. Naturally, he came back to him. Then the Buddha using the psychic power to make the flower deteriorate. And when he deteriorate, then he realized that impermanent. And then from there, of course, these people with parami, not so simple. They see the ultimate realities and eventually attain arahantship. So this is the power of the Buddha in teaching. So the Buddha could understand all beings perfectly. He's a perfect teacher, best teacher in the world. Number 7, Jnana Vimokha Samadhi Samapatti Jnana. Knowledge of the attainments of concentration and liberation. The 7th power of the Buddha is complete understanding of all meditative states, all possible meditative states. From the primary stage of concentration to the highest liberation. Okay. In the Mahasalayatthha Nikāya Sutta, the Buddha described this knowledge. Tassa evang janato evang passato kamma savapi cittang vimucchati. Bhava sakvapi cittang vimucchati. Avijja savapi cittang vimucchati. When one knows and sees thus, the mind is liberated from the taints of sensual desire, from the taints of existence, and from the taints of ignorance. He can see that the mind, that's why the Buddha very precisely how the mind is like that, all stages, all levels of attainment. All forms of concentration, all 4 fine material jhana, all 4 immaterial attainments, the cessation of perception and feeling, not nirodha samapatti, the various stages of liberation. He knows how to enter these states, how to emerge from them, and how they relate to the path of liberation. This knowledge enables the Buddha to guide meditators with precision, with very much precision. Help them to navigate the complex territory of meditation practice without getting lost or sidetracked. Number 8, Pubbeniwasa Nusati Jnana, knowledge of the recollection of past lives. The 8th power is the Buddha's ability to recollect his own past lives and those of other beings. In the Bhaya Bhairava Sutta, in Majjhima Nikāya, the 4th Sutta, the Buddha described this knowledge. So aneka vihitang Pubbeniwasam anusarami seyatidam ekampi jating dvepi jatiyo tisopi jatiyo satampi jating sahasam pi jating satta sahasam pi jating anekepi sangvatakape anekepi vivatakape anekepi sangvata vivatakape. I recollect my manifold past lives. That is 1 birth, 2 birth, 3 births, up to 100th birth, 1,000 birth, 100,000 birth, many eons of world contraction, many eons of world expansion, many eons of world contraction and expansion. You could recollect to that extent. This knowledge gives the Buddhas a vast perspective on the cycle of rebirth and the long journey of beings through samsara. It allows him to draw on countless examples of the past to illustrate his teaching and to understand the long-term patterns of karma and its result. Remember, whenever sometimes the monks have some trouble, the Buddha could talk about Jataka story. in the past, because your relationship like that, your relationship like that. Because of that, he could go through long, long time, himself and other people's past life. And knowing the past causes, he could know how you can deal with your life better. You see, even today, scientists or even when they sometimes because of understanding the past mistakes, all those science or technicians, knowing that they learn from past mistakes, in order to avoid to produce better product or whatever, So past is helpful as a knowledge, as an experience. But how much past experience you have depends on how much you remember. And when the Buddha remember a lot, then he is actually the most experienced people. Most people, they forget. They forget about the experience. So no matter how much pain they suffer before, they forget. And then they repeat the mistake again and again. And this knowledge is very helpful for that. To avoid that mistakes. Because you become a person has a great store of life experience if you have this knowledge. So is this knowledge very useful? And number 9, Chutupapata Jnana, knowledge of the passing away and rebirth of beings. This with divine eye. This is a bit different. Seeing the past life is one thing. This is using using divine eye power. See, you're reborn where, like that. Passing away and being reborn according to the karma. Same in the Bhaya Bhairava Sutta, Majjhima Nikāya 4, the Buddha explains. So dibena chakuna visuddhena atikanta manusakena satte pasami. Chawa mane upapajjamane hine panite suwane dubane sugate dugate yatha kamupage satte pajanami. With the divine eye, which is purified and surpasses the human, I see beings passing away and reappearing, inferior and superior, fair and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate, and understand how beings pass on according to their actions, according to karma. This is very powerful. This is also knowledge very powerful. See the cycle, how until enlightenment is how you want to reborn from one life to another life. Like based on what kind of action, what kind of specific result. This knowledge very useful. And then number 10, Asavakkhaya Jnana, knowledge of the destruction of the taints. This is arahantship knowledge. The 10th and culminating power is the Buddhist knowledge of the complete destruction of all mental defilements. This is attainment of arahantship. You get this knowledge. Arahata knowledge. So evang samahite chitte parisuddhe pariyodate annangane vigatu pakkilese mudu bhute kamaniye chitte anenjapatte asavanam khaya jnanaya chittang abhininamesing. So idang dukhanti yathabhutang abhanyasing. Ayang dukkha samudayoti yathabhutang abhanyasing. Ayang dukkha nirodoti yathabhutang abhanyasing. Ayang dukkha niroda gamini patipadati yathabhutang abhanyasing. When my concentrated mind was thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, I directed it to knowledge of the destruction of taints. I directly knew as it actually is. This is suffering. I directly knew as it actually is. This is the origin of suffering. I directly knew as it actually is. This is the cessation of suffering. I directly knew as it actually is. This is the way leading to the cessation of suffering. This is very powerful. Okay? This knowledge represents the Buddha's complete liberation from all forms of suffering and the fulfillment of his enlightenment. It is a direct realization of Four Noble Truths and the eradication of the 3 taints of sensual desire, existence, and ignorance. Okay? So this is why, these 10 powers show why the Buddha is our spiritual guide and so powerful. They are not separate power. They are the power related to his perfect enlightenment. He gives confidence, perfect confidence, and to guide beings without mistake towards liberation. This confidence, sometimes also, Venerable Sariputta also shares some of this confidence. Sampada, in the Sampadasa-daniya Sutta, Venerable Sariputta shows his confidence in the Buddha. Na chahang Bhante Bhagavato Saddhamato apicha maya nyatang ditang viditang sachi katancha. I do not have mere faith in the Blessed One about this. I know it, I've seen it, I've understood it, I've realized it. Especially about the Four Noble Truth. Because Venerable Sariputta also Arahant. He also have this Four Noble Truth. So because of that, he's not only mere faith. He said his confidence over the Buddha is he knows the Buddha actually have these qualities. I actually see that the Buddha have these qualities. Understood and realized. So we can also develop such confidence of the Buddha. Up to the level you can be like the Venerable Sariputta. Like that. And so the Buddha manifests a profound wisdom in the Dhamma. So this is really power. We can also see another aspect of the Buddha's power. We look at in our chanting book. What page? The 37 jnana. 73 jnana. Not 37, 73. Mistake, sorry. So let's look at in the chanting book, the jnana. Tesatati jnanani. 73 types of knowledge. If you are interested to know about the Buddha's power, all these knowledge are power, including what? Including psychic powers. This knowledge also, psychic power actually is the kind of knowledge. It's the kind of knowledge. Because without that knowledge, you cannot exercise that psychic power. The knowledge about the nature, about elements. Okay. So these are a lot of powers of the Buddha. You may also see number 50. There are a lot of knowledge. We just got this 1-3 page chanting book 1-3-4. Knowledge number 50. Kayampi chittampi eka vavathanata sukha sanyanja lahu sanyanja adithana vasena vijanate panya idivide jnana. The wisdom gained by the willpower of defining body and mind as one and of steadying the perception of bliss and lightness is knowledge of the kinds of psychic powers. Idi. Vitaka vipara vasena nandate kata saddha nimitana paryo gahane panya sota dhatu visuddhi jnana. The wisdom gained by comprehending sound signs, can hear, in their diversity and unity through the expansion of applied thoughts is knowledge of the purification of the ear element. Sometimes we also translate as divine ear. You can hear sound from far. All this. Tinana chittana viparata indrana pasada vasena nanate kata vinyana charya parayogahane panya ceto paraya jnana. The wisdom gained by penetrating the behavior of consciousness in its diversity, the behavior of others' consciousness in its diversity and unity through the sensitivity seen in the 6 physical faculties of their eyes, etc., due to the expansion of the 3 types of their mind is the knowledge of the penetration of others' mind. My reading, okay? This is my reading. Not my guessing, my reading. And then, Pachaya pavatana dhammana nanate kata kama vipara vasena paragahane panya pubbe nivasa nusati jnana. This is similar with the one of the 10 powers. The wisdom gained by penetrating conditionally occurring phenomena through the expansion of karma in its diversity and unity is the knowledge of the recollection of past lives. And then obasa wasena nanate kata rupa nimitana dasa nate panya dibacakunyana. The wisdom gained by seeing signs of visible objects in the diversity and unity by means of illumination is knowledge of the divine eye. Okay, yeah, you can see, you can see all the world and you can see beyond the world, whatever, anything. No obstacle. This is the eye. Then Chatu Satya Akarehi Tinana Indrana Vasi Bhavata Panya Asawana Kaya Jnana. The wisdom gained by the mastery of the three supramundane faculties in 64 aspects is knowledge of the exhaustion of mental cankers, i.e. the path of arahantship. Okay? This is also included in the 10 powers. So we look at it, all the 6 from 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. All these 6 is actually also known as 6 abhinya. Cha abhinya. 6 psychic powers. These psychic powers actually, 6 神通, 6 psychic powers, is actually a kind of knowledge. Actually, it's a kind of knowledge. Okay. And then, a lot, if you're interested, you can see. But most of this knowledge can be shared by disciples. Also, the Arhat also may have these powers, 67, up to 67. All these are shared by disciples. Okay? But there are 6 powers only owned by the Buddha. Indriya Paro Pariyate Jnana. The knowledge of penetration of other faculty. This is one of the Dasa-balā, one of the 10 powers. Satana Anusanue Asatana Asaya Nusaye Jnana. The knowledge of the inclination of hidden tendencies in beings. This is also given in the 10 powers. It's the same. Yamaka Patihariye Jnana. The knowledge of performing the 3 miracles. This is not given in the 10 powers. But it is one of the knowledge only the Buddha has, which he can emit fire and water interchangeably. For example, ice, here fire, here water. All very complicated, very fast. This is very powerful knowledge. One of our disciples practice the Pacaya Parigha Jnana, dependent origination. She saw her past lives. And then in one of the past lives, she was actually witnessed as a Deva, witnessed the Buddha exercising this power. So far, I've heard 2 or 3%, 2% told me they actually recollect witnessing the Buddha exercising this 3 miracle. Very fantastic, in the walkway in the sky, the jewel walkway, and then walking to and fro, showing this very grand power. All the Buddha will exercise this because this is only unique to the Buddha. No other people can exercise this psychic power. Okay, this knowledge is a unique knowledge. Yamaka Patihariye Jnanam. Mahakaruna Samapatiya Jnanam. The knowledge of the attainment of the great compassion. This is wonderful. Not only compassion, it's not only feelings. It's a kind of knowledge. To the extent, when he exercises this, anyone needs his help, and the time is ripened for him to help, he could know it. This is a very powerful knowledge. And then Sabanyuta Jnana, omniscient knowledge. Then Anavarana Jnana, unobstructed knowledge. So all these 68 to 73, this knowledge only the Buddha can possess this knowledge. Why? Because the Buddha trained this long ago throughout his Bodhisattva journey in order to be more efficient and capable in helping beings. So this is the power of the Buddha. What else? According to the Buddha say, if you want to talk about the Buddha's qualities and virtues and powers, can talk a long time. And not for us to say. If only the Buddha has the power to talk about the Buddha's qualities. Then if you want to know more about the Buddha's qualities, you can, the beautiful stories, Jayamaṅgala-Gāthā. If you read the Jayamaṅgala-Gāthā, there are stories, 8 stories.
Now I don't think we have time. I don't want to talk too long. But anyway, in this Jayamaṅgala-Gāthā, it's also given in our Pali chanting book. You can read. The Buddha talk about. They chant very beautifully in Sri Lanka. But a bit questionable. Some people think it's a bit singing, but not really. They say Bahum Saha Sama Bini like that. Very beautifully they chant. So in the 8 stories, when the Buddha exercised wonderful power to conquer, to overcome difficulties. The first story is about the Buddha's victory over the Mara, the personification of temptation and death, who attempted to prevent the Buddha's enlightenment. The Buddha conquered not through force, but through perfection of generosity. You see the Buddha image, I see? His hands pointing to the ground. Actually, at that time, not yet Buddha. At that time, he was on his path towards the Buddhahood. But okay, now we take the image as Buddha. But in history, what actually happened, at that time, he was on his path towards liberation. And then the Mara tried to shake him, tried to chase him away with all kind of weapons attacking the Buddha. But the Buddha declared, I own this throne, this sitting position for enlightenment because of all the Dana Parami. Because of that, with this power, all the great earth has witnessed how the Buddha perfect his parami. Sometimes even donation of eyes, body, life, everything. So he deserved that, and no one can shake because his merit was so powerful. When the merit ripened, no one can deprive him of the result of his merit. So the Buddha invoked the power of his Dana Parami. Very wonderful, huh? So the 8 stories, through generosity and other perfection. The first story. The second story is about the Alawaka. Alawaka is a yaka. He tried to chase the Buddha away. But the Buddha was very powerful. The Buddha could see. He could tame this yaka with his patience. And of course with other powers as well. Today we don't have time to go through one story after another. Then the third story is about the Nalagiri, the elephant was put to drunk, intoxicated, and after that pushed him towards the Buddha. Then he rushed towards the Buddha using the Buddha knowing his mind, and then spread the loving kindness towards him. And then when he came to the Buddha, he kneeled down, and then using the trunk to rub the Buddha's feet and take the dust, throw on his head. Wow, his head, very wonderful. Then the fourth story is about, so the first is the Dana power, second is the patience power, but using knowledge. Then the third is the loving kindness power. Then the fourth is the psychic, the Aṅguttara power, using the psychic. If you want to see, you can see our chanting, Pali chanting book, the Gatha. Wait, let me see. You can find this if you are chanting book. If you are free, you can read up. Page 128. The first is Dana Dhamma Vidina Jitawa Munindo. Second, Kanti Sudanta Vidina Jitawa Munindo. Third is Metta Busika Vidina Jitawa Munindo. The fourth is Idi Bisankatamano Jitawa Munindo. At that time, Aṅguttara was Aṅguttara, you know, sorry? He killed 999 people. Very fierce, very powerful. The last time he almost wanted to kill his mother, the Buddha came and he chased after the Buddha. Then the Buddha using psychic power to make him unable to catch up with the Buddha.
But the Buddha was like walking slowly, not moving. The psychic power is like making him run about. Then he say, "Monk, stop, stop. She's chasing after you. Was tired already. Stop, monk, stop." Told the Buddha to stop. Then the Buddha said, "I have stopped. You have not stopped." Then he was puzzled. Then he came to ask the Buddha, I have stopped to ask you this question. I have stopped already, but you say I have not stopped. And you still walking and you say you have stopped. What does it mean? These intelligent people like that. If it's a foolish people will say, we attack. You are lying. You attack. No, the Buddha didn't refer to that. The Buddha said, I have stopped killing, harming beings. You are still harming and killing beings. So you have not stopped your evil. I have stopped all evil. Then the Buddha won his heart over and he bowed down. And then became, eventually the Buddha brought him to arahantship. So this is Idi Bisang Katamano Jitawa Munindo. Buddha using. The Lord of Sages, the Buddha, conquered by performing a psychic feat. Okay. And then the fifth story, the fifth is the Chincha came falsely accusing the Buddha, putting the stomach, try to make it swallow, like conceiving baby. Actually, it's false. The Buddha patiently, by fair and peaceful means, avoiding but after that also with the Deva's help, then the scam was exposed. And then the sixth one is a Sachaka. He's a very good debater, could debate with the Buddha, but the Buddha using his lamp of wisdom, teaching him, then give him the realize, understand the Dhamma. The story goes like that. Sometime later, this Sachaka, he did not get enlightened during the Buddha's time, but people say, this is a story, you just listen. Believe or not, it's up to you. They say this Sachaka was reborn in Sri Lanka as a great monk and eventually became Arahant. The Buddha gave him 2 suttas, talked to him, Dhamma, taught him 2 suttas. But he did not attain enlightenment in front of the Buddha, but sometime in future in Sri Lanka, one monk attained arahantship and recollect back, he was actually Sachaka. So sometimes the Buddha taught, not to immediately, he knew immediately it may not bear fruits, but sometime in future it will bear fruits. Then Nandopananda is a kind of divine serpent, is a Naga. Very powerful. At that time the Buddha want to tame this Naga, because after the Buddha tamed this Naga, this become a protector of the Buddhism. Okay? So at that time, who want to go and tame, using psychic power to tame this Naga powerful? There are many people say, I will tame, I have psychic power, including one little girl. One little girl actually is Anagami. He said, I also can tame the Naga. Jira, the little girl is Jira. I can tame the elephant, the Naga, the dragon. But the Buddha knew this dragon was too powerful. All these people with psychic power cannot conquer, cannot tame this dragon. Buddha, to be able to know precisely who can do the job, this requires great power, great knowledge. Even though the Buddha himself didn't go to tame this dragon, but it was actually the achievement of the Buddha. Why? If you send the wrong person, then finish. He sent the correct person. Who? This Terra is Mahamoggallana. And then eventually, they play a lot of psychic, pushing each other, whatever, blowing fire, blowing smoke. Then eventually, Venerable Mahamoggallana went into the dragon's stomach and do walking meditation inside. And then he said, please come out, don't disturb me. Then he said, he will come out. Then the dragon was thinking, if he came out, I will blow fire on him and kill him. Then the Buddha, using psychic, to give a message to Venerable Sariputta and Venerable Mahamoggalana. Please be careful. Be careful. Because the Buddha already knew the tactic that dragon was trying to use, to apply. Then Venerable Mahamoggalana said, "Oh, I have no problem. I've been practicing and for long time for all this. So this is no problem for me." Because Mahamoggalana also very smart. When he came out, true enough, the dragon blew fire on him. But Mahamoggalana entered fourth jhana, just like that. Immediately entered fourth jhana. Fast and quick. And then the fire couldn't touch him. So this is the power of Venerable. So this is the achievement of the Buddha actually. He could directly know who can did it, who can do it. Then the last one is the Brahma. The Buddha went up to the Brahma world, and then the Baka, Baka Brahma is a very powerful. Thought he was powerful, create the world or whatever, but he got the wrong view, thinking that his life was permanent. Then the Buddha actually using knowledge and won him over. One of the approach the Buddha used was make he disappear in front of him. But this Brahma wanted to disappear in front of the Buddha. He couldn't disappear. He wanted to disappear, still could be seen. So he couldn't exercise his power over the Buddha. But the Buddha could make himself disappear and could not be seen by Brahma. So because of that, the Brahma recognized the Buddha's power. And also the Buddha also enlightened, tried to help him to understand how he became a Brahma. Before that, the Buddha could go so far to know all his past life, the power, his past life of the Brahma. So that also helped to make the Brahma waken up. So the stories are very interesting stories. The Buddha had the power actually manifest in such a way to produce miraculous teaching effect. Miraculous. So this is the Jayamaṅgala-Gāthā. From there you can also realize the power of the Buddha. So if you want to talk about the power of the Buddha, there's a lot. You can never finish. But it gives us a kind of faith that that the Buddha actually has this power. If you have faith. And then also tell us about the potential that a being, how far you can go. A being potential. So for us Buddhists, it's not only, you believe in a powerful force or whatever. No. When we talk about the Buddha's power, we are realizing the potential, how far you can go, and then to have that confidence that we can actually do a lot of good to ourselves. If this far a being can go, so to overcome suffering is possible, can be done. Can be done. In fact, more important thing is the Dhamma powers that actually not only on high level, such high level you can exercise Dhamma powers. In fact, we can exercise our Dhamma powers the first day we enter into Buddhism. For example, just the power of five precepts. If you practice 5 precepts, because of not killing, you have the power to stop the causes of pain, short life, disease, whatever. Like the accumulator one, you can't do much about it, but you can stop the new creation of this unwholesome karma. So you can change. It has the power to change our life. Just sila enough. What more to say if we develop samadhi and panya? Our life change. See? In fact, before you come to this bhavana maya panya, the knowledge by experiential knowledge, by insight, by practice, you can, when you hear about this, if you have faith, you hear about this knowledge, you can see your life can change. But if you improve it, this from sutta maya panya, hearing knowledge, to cinta maya panya, reflective knowledge, then you can overcome a lot of suffering, a lot of emotional problems. And you can overcome, you can develop those things. And you can change your life. You can apply these Dhamma powers at every stage of your cultivation. This is the wonders about Dhamma. You don't need to wait until next life. You don't need to wait until you have achieved this complete perfection. No. Every little bit Dhamma power that we apply, just letting go. You see? Then you can overcome so much suffering. Just let go. Let go attachment. You can reduce so much suffering. We can reduce so much suffering. You see? Just living in the present moment, we can free ourselves from the bondage of the past, or our memory, painful memory, or whatever mistake of ourselves, of others. If you can live in the present moment, you disentangle yourself from this bondage. See? So these are the basic things we can do for our lives. Of course, if you can develop up to this level, you can help people. But knowing human potential, we should not underestimate our potential. That we also can apply Dhamma powers at any stage of our life to reduce suffering, to produce real happiness. So this is the purpose of today's talk. But of course, having strong faith in the Buddha empowers ourselves. It empowers ourselves. Okay? And also, there are spiritual powers also. In fact, the 37 requisites of enlightenment is also powers. If you apply this, you can see that power in your life. But specifically, the Buddha refers to 5 powers that we should cultivate. In the Aṅguttara Nikāya 5.2, the Buddha speaks about 5 powers available to practitioner. Panchimani bhikkhave balani. Katamani pancha. Saddha balang, virya balang, sati balang, samadhi balang, panya balang. There are these 5 powers, monks. What 5? The power of faith, the power of energy, the power of mindfulness, the power of concentration, and the power of wisdom. Remember, these 5 things are also called faculties. But when we come to certain strength, we refer to them as power. So it says like that, while we may not attain the 10 powers of the Buddha in this lifetime, we can certainly develop these 5 powers, which form the foundation of spiritual strength for all practitioners, whether monastic or lay people. Okay? So these are the benefit. Okay, the time constraint. We don't talk too much. So there's a lot more. So to really rightly give justice to the Buddha, to explain about the Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's power, Buddha's strength, only a Buddha can do that. We can only do based on the text the Buddha taught to us only. But one Buddha can describe about the strength, the virtues, the perfection of another Buddha perfectly. Because only a Buddha can understand the Buddha's mind perfectly, completely. Okay? And for us, how we want to practice this power for our life? To achieve what? Here we care a lot about some basic human quality. I would suggest to you, in practical terms, try to cultivate these powers, the Dhamma knowledge, using whatever level of wisdom, whether it's Sutta Maya Panya, hearing wisdom, or Cinta Maya Panya, reflective or thinking wisdom, or Bhavana Maya Panya, insight, or the practice wisdom, realization wisdom. Whatever, by your level best. If you practice out to Vipassana, you can use the Bhavana Maya Panya. If not, then never mind. At least Cinta Maya Panya, the reflective knowledge, a lot of reflective knowledge you can use to help yourself, empower yourself, so that you are not easily hurt. First, so that you have independent happiness from inside. You don't rely on other people to give you happiness, and unshakable Dhamma powers. So if you develop patience, people cannot hurt your patience. You have perseverance, people cannot hurt your perseverance. Your diligence, people cannot shake your diligence. These are or whatever virtues you develop cannot be easily shaken by other people. Okay? And you can practice patience, virtues, devotions, bhakti, and faith, sada, and perseverance, energy, virya, etc. So apply this in life, okay? So that we also can realize the true, complete benefit of the Dhamma powers. Okay? Any question? You can ask. If I know, I can answer you. If I don't know, I will study further. Oh, this is another talk. I gave a lot of talk how to balance 5 faculties. Basically, to balance faith and wisdom. Actually, that is wisdom. To perfect wisdom, no need to balance. The kind of skeptical or investigative wisdom. That level you need to balance. Faith at that level of wisdom, and then energy and concentration. Okay? The simplest way is to incline your mind. You notice one is more to incline your mind towards the weaker one. Okay? But to expound on this, it requires one full talk. At least one full talk. Okay? You can dig out some of my previous talk talking about 5 faculties. Okay? Okay, any other question?
刚才那个有一个师大是讲佛陀用来帮那个萨迦嘎还有那个还有什么？还有另外一个是那个 Brahma 的，然后那个一个是用 wisdom 嘛，然后一个是用 knowledge 嘛，那个两个有什么分别？
没有啦，那个如果你读他的故事 ，when you read 的话 I explain in English 啦 ，because it's English talk So for Satchaka is using debating skill. Debating skill means you must really master the topic. It's not only by mouth you are very shrewd in talking. Cannot. You must really master the topic so that you can answer every question brought out by Satchaka. Okay, that is the kind of wisdom, reasoning. But this reasoning power, debating skill, debating power has its foundation in Bhavana Maya Panya. Okay, but when in presentation, it manifests as a Cinta Maya Panya, argument kind of knowledge. But the foundation is actually the Buddhist realization, Bhavana Maya Panya. Okay, but for the Baka Brahma, that knowledge is different. That has a psychic ability. Or after seeing all the past life of this Brahma, then and also the psychic, make sure you cannot see me, I can see you. And using the psychic coupled with the knowledge fully about this Baka Brahma, then this wisdom, this psychic also kind of knowledge. Okay? So this kind of knowledge conquer the Brahma. Okay? Won the Brahma over. Help him to conquer, help the Brahma to overcome his wrong view. Okay? So it is a bit different type of knowledge. Okay? One is you know the stuff and then you can reason. But the Baka Brahma one is a kind of, a battle of strength. And then after that, also fully understand the Brahma's background and make him correct his view. Like that. Okay? You have to read the full story lah. Because of the constraint of time, we can just tell you. But you read the full story, very interesting. Suddenly I remember one power of the Buddha. The Buddha never need to use the microphone. Really. He didn't even need to use psychic. Not like, psychic, yeah, those who have psychic, they can make their voice heard very far using psychic. But the Buddha just used his natural voice only. And he could make sure his voice is heard by everybody, no matter how big the group of people. Very wonderful. Thousands or 10,000 or so. Natural voice only, you could make his voice heard without exercising psychic. And the Buddha sometimes gives a talk throughout the night for so long. And without feeling tired, so much energy. People like us, just I taught for 2 hours. And now, almost 1.5 hours, already tired a bit. So our energy, our even natural power, our energy only cannot compare with the Buddha. Not to say psychic, just this ordinary physical energy already lose out. How wonderful, the Buddha's power, the karma power, energy, physical energy only. Very admirable. This is wonderful. You want to have the energy? Don't kill. And do a lot of dana, don't kill. One of our students, last year she practiced here. Always people like us have to go exercise every now and then, every day, go and exercise, climb the hill. She just want to meditate, she meditate very hard, very hard. She never need to go up. But one fine day, I said, you come today, you come. And, okay lah. I said, you meditate is hard, but come and do a little exercise. But the moment she came and joined us, so far ahead, walking in front, very quickly. This person no need to train. The karmaja rupa, the karma energy is so strong. And she told me she never killed a single being throughout her life. Wonderful. Huh? So this is karma energy. Because the karma is pure and good, very powerful. And not only this life, for a long, long time, she never do commit killing. Very wonderful. So, if you want to have this energy, don't do things that shake outside obstacles. Huh? Okay.
Bhante, actually, if somebody already attained Arahant, will he just proudly claim that he is Arahant to the public?
He would not proudly claim, but usually during the Buddha's time, they go to declare in front of the Buddha, tell the teacher.
Yeah, but not to the general public.
But to the general public, it's not for me to say I'm not Arahant. So I cannot say. You see? But definitely, Arahant has no pride, no conceit. Yeah. But whether he would tell others or not,
to maybe convince other people to practice Dhamma?
I don't know. During the Buddha's time, only the Buddha declared, they never declare themselves. But not having any Arahant declaring themselves doesn't mean,
Doesn't mean it's wrong to declare themselves as Arahant.
You see, we don't go by form. You see, we don't judge a person by form. We judge and go by, he has no conceit. We can only say that. To be safe, actually, it's no good to say more than what the Buddha said, Sometimes when we go and say, some people ask, will Sotapan get married? Oh yeah, Sotapan, during the Buddha's time, Sotapan also got married also, Sometimes I don't want to say more than what the Buddha said.
Yeah, we don't try to extrapolate.
You see, no benefit. If I say yes or no, also no benefit to me. What should I say? So usually I avoid answering this type of question. Conclusively, I avoid participating in this kind of discussion. But I just say that they would not have pride to show off all their attainment. But I cannot say exactly. But there was once an Arahant. He went for Pindachara, going for alms round. But he got a little bit stomach discomfort. So on the way back, after getting food, by the roadside, he sit down and start eating. Then there's one young monk was unhappy. It's not decent, not proper. Can't you endure your hunger a little bit? Go back and eat. Say like that saying that it's no good to do like that. And look down on him. Then this monk, Arahant, asked him, have you attained any footing in the Dhamma? He said, yes, I'm a Sotapan. Because the monk and monk is okay, I'm a Sotapan. Then they say, then you don't need to practice further because you have offended a person who have overcome completely all cankers. Means Arahant. Then immediately the Sotapan realized his mistake and bowed down and apologize, ask for forgiveness. So between monks it's okay. But usually monks, because this Arahantship attainment is considered Uttari Manusa Dhamma according to Vinaya. Uttari Manusama supramundane state. So monks, they don't tell the lay people about supramundane state. But if they tell about others, it's okay. They don't tell about themselves. You know. But if they tell about others just to make people donate to the community, also wrong. But not like that. Arahant won't do that. But because of the Vinaya, so usually they don't talk about supramundane state of personality. Lay people, Arahant already passed away within one day. Arahant cannot sustain their life in the lay status. Cannot. Needs natural. Just like the Buddha of the Buddha, you know. He also, after attaining arahantship, he didn't want to ordain monk. He just go. So to say a lay person is arahant, in our understanding, is not possible. In our understanding, it's not possible. But I don't want to say anything. It's a business, you know. I care very much. Whatever I say, if it doesn't give benefit to myself, why should I say? You own your own karma, good or right or wrong. It's not my business. I play a very safe one, you know. I want to focus on teaching, and whatever little bit I teach, bear fruits, and it's good and helpful for people, good for me and good for others. That's beautiful marriage. I don't want to engage in controversies with people. I don't know. Not my way.
So
okay.
It's better that we assume that what he say is true, or we just respect him.
I don't need to assume anything. I just respect you as a being, as a person. Okay. You know, if you're a good person, okay, you're a good person. But if you kill, I say no lah. You know, if you don't do anything wrong, okay, I just regard you as a good person.
But
if you overestimate yourself, that's your business, not my job.
So if he declare he is arahant, we just assume that he is arahant.
I don't need to assume. I don't even want to think about it.
Okay.
At one time when I was in India, you know, there's one old man came over to me. And because he saw me practicing in the cave, he was telling me, he was trying to introduce his teacher to me. At that time, his teacher was still alive, Satya Sai Baba. You know, the one with big head. So I have no comment on other practitioners. So then he told me Satya Sai Baba is a 100% reincarnation of Vishnu, Brahma Vishnu. Then after I listened to him, everything, I told him, I said, well, okay. I said, you say your teacher is so great. Okay, fine. Yeah, maybe one day I can meet up with him. I'm so good. But if I want to ask him one question, is it my way of as a Buddhist, we practice to attain liberation from suffering. So my aim in religion is to attain liberation from suffering, and to get out of samsara. And the reason to that correlates in samsara is greed, anger, delusion. So I would like to know, if I meet your teacher, I would like to know, how can I attain liberation? Simply by believing that you are, you are the 100% reincarnation. They have 30%, 40% reincarnation, very strange one, you know. So by believing that your teacher is you are the 100% reincarnation of Vishnu, how that belief can liberate me, I want to know. So I when I told like that old man was very wise. He realized there's something, you know. We always care about why. But just like believe. What is the benefit? I want to know how far this belief can bring me. The science of it, that's important. So it is okay, you're arahant, no arahant. I want the methodology that make a difference in my mind, in my life. That we care more about that. Rather than I believe you, no problem. Believe you are not. You know? What is more important is what you can teach that can make me transform my mind fundamentally to the root. Okay? So I don't want to think about who you are, what are, not so important for me. Tell me something that make a change in my life, I thank you for that. Okay? Okay, sadhu. Okay. Any other thing? If no, then we finish. Quite late already. Okay.
So hopefully, you have all of us develop real strong faith. Like when our Ananda's faith toward the Buddha. Then apply this faith in our life. Okay. Idang me punyang asawa kaya wahang hotu. Idang me punyang nibbana sapacayo hotu. Mama punya bagang sabba satanang bhajemi. Te sabe me samang punya bagang labantu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.